Good morning, everyone. I'm in Minnesota. And how can you tell I'm in Minnesota? Because you don't see such funny humor in Boston. Uh, so I'm spending the summer at Gull Lake, Minnesota. Well, Nisswa, Minnesota. There's a lake here called Gull Lake. And as far as lakes go, it's pretty darn nice. I've been coming up here since I was in second grade. And before that, my dad was here when he was a boy. His parents had a house on the lake as well. So it's in our blood, as it were. I know people say it's in your DNA, but the Gull Lake gene has not been discovered yet. Anyway, the cabin, what we refer to as the cabin, is actually a house. It's not as rustic as most people imagine cabins would be. It's winterized, so you can even stay here all year long, which we came up one Christmas and that was enough. It's kind of quiet up here during the winter. Anyway, what's fun about a lake house or a vacation house, usually I've found, is there's a certain degree of informality to it that is really charming. The cabin down the lake, 1, 2, 3, 4 cabins down, when it was originally built, they've torn it down and they put up or renovated it to such a degree that it is very little like the original one. But what I loved about that place was it had a big stone fireplace, and above the fireplace was a shelf, mantelpiece kind of a thing. And on the side of the wooden slab that was the mantelpiece was a little hook. And on the hook was a pair of scissors. And I love that about that place because that is not where that family kept the scissors in their city house. Would not be on a hook on the fireplace. So there's a utilitarianness to maybe having the scissors there. I'm not quite sure, but it always made me smile when I would go over there to see that place. The present occupant is one of the sons of the original owners, and he's turned the cabin into more of a house, a regular house with a drawer somewhere in the kitchen, I suspect, that has the scissors. So another thing about this place is that it was a communal effort in terms of how the house is decorated. It wasn't just my parents deciding what couch to buy and what chair to buy, though it was up to them to buy those things. What pictures were on the walls, what some of the furniture in the bedrooms were, that was up to the person that slept in that bedroom. So it's a little bit of a collaborative process. Anyway, I'll show you the view. How do I turn this thing around here? Settings. Back camera. Oh dear. So the lake is out there somewhere. Here's a beautiful antique lamp that has the fishing lures on them, which will be put on those fishing poles and to catch fish. That thing up there is some weaving I made in college, two weavings, and then I've added, my parents collected blue and white plates. So at one point this wall was covered with these plates, and we took them down one day, and I decided to put this thing up instead. And it also has my little blue and white fish. There's more fishes here. One of my dad's sculptures. This is where I sit almost all the hours of the day. One of the fun things about this house is when they were building it, my mother had been and father had been to Florida, and they went to they were at some resort, and she thought it was really cool how the bathroom was sort of open and whimsical, she thought it. So this is the whimsical bathroom that we made, that she made, and this sort of fun wallpaper trim she put around the top of the walls here to suggest whimsy. The dental thing is what I brought into the thing. Here's a portrait of my parents I made from fish. I made fish portraits of my parents. That's my mother. That's my father. Out of Bud Light boxes. My father would paint rocks. Of course, this is one of my father's watercolor paintings. Another painting my father did, abstract thing. Anyway, at one point we had to fix the toilet. The toilet had to be replaced in this room. And we couldn't find, and they had to take the wall down because it was a wall-mounted toilet or something, and they had to take the wall down. And they replastered it, but we didn't have any more of this fringe, this fun fringe. So my father did this. He painted, first he painted the fringe, that came down and was still fringy, but this is all just painted on the wall, but real nails. He made it look like it was the fabric and nails holding it up. Then he had this mask. This is a mask, but he painted everything else. Well, I guess some of the plant vegetation is real, I mean plastic, and the rest is painted. Here's some more of those fun little things. But this is just so much fun. People love coming in here. And when they're not told that it's happening, they open up the door and they scream. Here's some more of my dad's collages. This room, which is very dark. Do I have a light in here? Who knows? This room is where we would play games. We had a big table right there in the corner, and this was the mud room. And this is where the kids, when we were kids, we would play games here, away from my parents. And now it's my bedroom. It's the original bedrooms were very small for children that were never supposed to grow up. I've been making these things. I call them asteroids. And what they are my father used to make jewelry, and he collected beads and bones and all sorts of stuff. And I ended up taking the parts that he hadn't used to, or necklaces he began but never finished, and ended up, let me turn the camera around here. Settings, front camera. I took the partially made necklaces and wrapped them around balls to make those asteroids. And maybe I'll do a video of those another time. Other things I'm doing here, I'm going through closets, finding stuff that, clothing that my mother wore. She created this beautiful shirt using, it was just a denim shirt, but then she embroidered it with little bits and pieces of ribbon and thread, different color threads. And the shirt didn't fit anyone in our family, and the shirt also was very fragile. The denim would easily rip, and so I saved the shirt. I cut it up. I got a scissors off the hook in front of the fireplace. And we have our scissors are located other places, but I cut the shirt up, and okay, just a minute. We had in our pile of stuff these cocktail trays. They look like this. They have little handles, and you would, bring in the cocktails. You'd make the cocktails, and you bring the cocktails up. Well, I took the shirt and cut it up and collaged it onto base, the bottom of this under the glass to make this little thing. And every time I look at that tray, I think of my mother. Did the same thing here with this cocktail tray. Hey, Tara. So, and I have another, I don't know, 4 or 5 of those trays in the house here that I will replace with other things. My mother made quilts, and the quilts, we used to have dogs, and the dogs tore apart a lot of the quilts, and then they were stored, and then the mice got at them. But there's parts of some of the quilts that she made that exist, so I'm going to make a little collage out of those and put them under glass. I used to wear sailor suits and Navy uniforms when I would go sailing, and that was always part of the coming up here, was getting to wear these fun Navy uniforms, and they're all shrunk or moth-eaten or torn apart, but I still have bits of them, so I'm going to make one using those elements of clothing. I have some other, there's a table that I found on the side of the road here, a hexagonal table, sort of an end table kind of a thing, and it has a glass top. So I'm going to make that one can be a deeper collage. It doesn't have to be as flat, so I'm going to make something with that. So I've got plans. So Tara Chilton has joined me. Hello, Tara. Have I talked to you before? Why is my memory not remembering? I'm going to get some more coffee. Maybe that'll kick it in. I know I'm not looking directly at the camera because the camera, I'm using an iPad and the camera is here. I suppose I can do this and look at the camera, but then I can't see if the camera is aiming at me or not. So it'll look like I'm not looking at you. I am looking at you. So Tara, have I talked with you before? And why can't I remember? Who else is in the room? Oh, well, thank you. Is it the pens that you mainly visit me for, or the art, or my mellifluous voice? Someone posted or commented on one of my videos that he found my voice very easy to fall asleep to. He takes me to bed with him every night to help fall asleep, which is kind of a funny backhanded compliment that my exciting stories don't keep him on the edge of his seat, but make him fall asleep. I'm planning to do a live video with an old friend of mine, grad school pal, who recently asked me to sell him a couple of pens, and I did, and he's a animator for Hollywood. He did work on The Simpsons, and he does beautiful drawings that are not cartoon-like. Anyway, I'm inviting him to be a guest with me, I think, next week. Pens and I am fun. Sometime, and so you collect pens, do you? It's stuck here. And who else is in the room? Pens. Do you collect pens, or are you a pen user, journal keeper, artist, calligrapher? Tell me all about yourself, Tara, or Tara. Fountain, ballpoint, and pencil. Wow. You have Catholic tastes, small c Catholic. I have a couple early ballpoint pens, but only a few. You can't draw. Do you like old fountain pens or new ones? I've got my double chin cam. How do I do this? I don't know. This summer, I'm hoping also, I brought watercolors with me. I'm hoping to learn how to do a little bit of watercoloring, just to see if I can learn a new trick. Older the better. Okay, good. Well, you're with me. And do you live in the United States? Another question, do you collect Chilton pens? There was a very good quality company named Chilton. They made very, very lovely pens. Idaho. You're up early. I'm in Minnesota now, so I'm normally in Boston, but now I'm here, so Central Time, and you're in Mountain Time, so you're an hour behind me. 6 o'clock there, I think. Oh, you do? Okay, good. Yeah, I have, I don't know, maybe a dozen Chiltons, and then I have maybe a dozen Crockers, which was their company before they became Chilton. They're quite nice. Their nibs tend to be pretty firm, though, so a Chilton is not one that I would normally be attracted to. And at a pen show, they're often quite expensive because they're rare and good quality, and therefore expensive because of the rarity. Anyway, I've got watercolors to try. I also want to, as I said, do more of these tray collages out of clothing and bits and pieces of other things. I also would love to read a book. I've been listening to a British radio show called My Word, and I first heard it 40 years ago when I was in grad school, and I loved the show. And every week it would be on, and I'd listen to it. And now they're on YouTube. You can listen to the whole series, and it's just amazing how much these four experts know about literature and words and definitions. And they spoke of Gulliver's Travels in one of the questions had to do with Gulliver's Travels. And I thought, I have that here somewhere. I've read it once upon a time and didn't understand any of it. I mean, I read it, but I didn't understand the social mirror that Jonathan Swift was putting up for everyone to see. So reading it again with that knowledge, I should be able to enjoy it better. I also have a plan to read Don Quixote, which is another thing I read as a kid, or high school or college. And a good friend of mine, artist friend, loves that book. And he and I were planning on reading it last year, I think. Together, we'd read a chapter a day, and then we'd talk about it on YouTube or Skype or something. And I got into just one chapter, and I just found it very difficult to pick a time to read. It's something else to do, and I'm hoping that I can pick a time. Nathan Tardif, I haven't seen him physically in a couple of years. I should call him. I just got his phone number from someone, and I would like to call him and connect with him. Nathan and I've known him for more than 40 years. When he was in high school, he would have his father drive him to Frank's house, and Frank was a pen collector who would go to all the pen shows and sell pens to Nathan and to me. And it was always a race who was going to get there first to buy the best pens or get the best pens. A good thing about Nathan and I is our taste in pens was our opposites. I liked flexible Watermans, and he liked Schaeffer's. So we weren't competing really with what pens we like. But he's a fun nut, and you're worried about him. I know that he gets himself into some tricky situations with his political views. I'm trying to be as generous as I can. He's sort of a libertarian and doesn't like any, I don't want to say democratic or socialist. Well, he doesn't like those, but I think he's not conservative in a social way. Financially, though, he's very conservative. But he did, one of the angsts he had, he called it something, and had a picture of something on it, and it rubbed lots of people the wrong way, and he got into a little bit of trouble because of that. And I don't think he meant it in the way that a lot of people thought he meant it. Um, but if you, it wouldn't be too hard to think that he meant it based on some of his political conservative, uh, fiscally conservative point of view. So I can see how that would have been difficult for him to backtrack from. Um, Also, the you know I love the guy to death. I really, really, really I'm very fond of him. Uh, I'm not fond of his inks. They never dry fast enough for me, and they're sometimes too thick to get the lines that I want. And uh, oh, gave up what on pens and inks? I don't think so. Maybe he did. I don't know that. I should probably call him. I will do that. And later today, maybe, if he answers my phone, the answers back. Um, the pens he makes, I own a few of his pens. Um, I've fitted them with gold nibs rather than the ones that he provides with the pen. Um, I know a lot of people say his pens smell funny, which they do. Um, some of them smell like hard rubber, which I'm used to, so that's fine. Doesn't bother me. The ones that are made of plastics, some people say they smell. What makes you think he gave up? Just because he's not making any new inks, or you can't find the inks, or it means so much to me. I can't see what you're saying. Much to me. Please do. It means so much to me. Um, have you met him personally, face to face? And you don't have to tell me personal things if you don't want to. I just, Nathan doesn't leave his hometown much, let alone come to Boston, or I can't imagine him ever making it to Idaho. I've been to Nathan's house, I think, once in my life. Might have been twice. Twice, I think. Um, and it was interesting to see. Okay, yes, and that they canceled him. So yes is the answer to which question? Have you met him? And that they canceled him, meaning people aren't selling his inks? Is that what you're referring to? Um, his Yeah, I think it would be great if you were to meet him. I think that he would enjoy meeting fans. People love him. His fans love him. There's nothing wrong with being loved. Uh, I just once I told him I bought some ink from him, Bay State Blue, as a matter of fact, which I know people hate for some reason. I designed the label for it at one point. I don't think he uses it, but he created ink for a pen show that I was running, and it was. I said, well, let's. He was willing to give everyone a free bottle of that ink, or for the first 100 people or something. So anyway, I came up with a label for it, and but I used it. I used the Bay State Blue ink in it for doing some wedding invitations, wedding envelopes, and I, do 20 at a time. I have a rack that will hold 20 when they're drying, and then I scoop them all together and do another 20. And I scooped them all together, and the ink wasn't dry, and I ruined all 20 because the ink smeared. And but I was almost, I don't know, I couldn't have been almost done if I, anyway, I had to use different ink, had to buy new envelopes, and I just let it took like 3 days for the ink to dry. And I complained to Nathan. I said, Nathan, your ink takes forever to dry. And he said, it's because you're not using shitty enough paper. Well, I'm sorry, Nathan. I'm not gonna use really awful fibrous paper to do drawings on or wedding calligraphy on. So I don't use his inks because they don't dry fast enough for me. The label, it wrapped around 3 sides of the bottle, and it was a panoramic view of Boston. And Boston had just built its big tunnel. The big dig was finally done, and they opened this tunnel. And at the time, it was the most expensive public works project in the United States, this tunnel underneath Boston. So it was a big to-do that it was finally open. So in the center of this long label was the center of Boston, with the buildings that would be recognizable by anyone that knows Boston. The State House, the Hancock Tower, the Prudential Building, the wharves on the harbor. And it showed the harbor. And then at the left side we're looking west. The ocean is in the foreground, and we're looking west. On the south side of the town, in the south side of the left side of the bottle, was this arched opening to the tunnel. And on the north side of the town was the north side of the tunnel, which also went over the brand new Zakim Bridge. So what was going through the tunnel, you saw the tail of a catfish, because Noodlers is a way of catching catfish, so that's his logo, I guess. So the south side, you saw the tail of the catfish sticking out of the tunnel, and then sticking out of the north side was the head of the fish with its feelers, big catfish feelers, popping out of the north side. Hey, Teresa. I do have a copy of it. Actually, I printed up 8 by 24-inch versions of it that I signed and sold to people at that first show. I know I have it on my computer in Boston. I can find it. I probably, if you do a search for Noodler's Bay State Blue label, you might be able to find an image of it. You might type my name. That wouldn't hurt. You might find an image. But sometime when I get back to Boston, I can print one up and sell it to you for $10 or something. Cover the $15 if you want me to mail it to you rolled up. Joshua Lax. I don't know if I know him. Tara, this is what you do. Get a pen out. I'm going to give you my email address. So I want you to email me. And I will do my best and remind me about Joshua Lax. Nib grinder. I hate grinding nibs. I understand why some people do it. And I don't mind if they do it on a modern nib. That's fine with me. But doing it on a vintage nib, they often do it and they ruin the nib. Nibs, certain nibs, especially really fine nibs, are meant to be scratchy. That's just what they do. And when you take a perfectly beautiful needlepoint of a nib and grind it down so it's smooth, it's no longer thin, it's medium. I hate that. So here's, you ready? You have a pencil ready? Yeah, taking a modern pen nib and shaping it to be more interesting than a modern nib is fine. Modern nibs generally are built and shaped to be very smooth. And if I can say this without getting people upset with me, very boring nibs. I think it's fine to shape those to make them more italic or make them more printed or do something with it. So here we go. Pier, P-I-E-R, Gustafson, G-U-S-T-A-F-S-O-N, Studio, S-T-U-D-I-O, all one big long word. Pier Gustafson Studio at gmail.com. So send me an email. There is perhaps a chance that I do have that on my computer. I have here. And I will go look for that in 1 second because it might be here. If I copied my archive and put it on this laptop, I will probably have it. But let's turn this on. And if I don't see the word archive, I see the word Fatso. Fatso is the name of my computer in Boston. So, okay, come on, open up. Fatso. Oh dear. There's only one thing here on this thing. I don't see it. Cherish it forever. Oh, that's very sweet of you to say. Hello, Troy. I'm doing a live YouTube video right now, so if I'm talking, I'm not talking to you. Dear. Yes, sorry, Teresa, I did not mail them out. I meant to send Teresa some pens for her to try. Did you go to the pen show, Teresa? Tara, what I'm going to do is also check old mail. It might have been, gosh, I don't even know if I had Gmail when I made that. I might be able to find it in an old Gmail account. Did you buy any old pens? Any vintage pens, I mean. I'm going to try looking under my old Facebook. Maybe I wonder if I have. Okay, why isn't this not working? B A Y State Blue ink search. Oh, I see that Nathan has a new Bay State Blue bottle with a picture of the State House on it. That's not the one I made. That's for sure. Oh dear. Well, as I told you before, every price at a pen show makes sense. $300 is a lot to spend on most pens. There are Eversharps that are worth that much, certainly. There's Eversharps that are worth a lot more than that. So it depends on what it was. But when I get back to Boston, I'll send you some pens, Teresa. I just don't know when I'm going to get back to Boston. I bought a one-way ticket. And I may not be back until August. I may go back for a couple of weeks and then come back here. But I have to see how the next few well, more than a few days. I have to test the waters here first. Wait till the weather cools. Someone posted on Facebook that the National Weather Service put out directions to everyone on how to bake lasagna in their mailbox, which I thought was funny. So Tara, did you send me a email yet? Let's see if it came through. Nothing yet. Checking for mail. What I'll do, what I will do, Tara, I'll send you, I'll do a quick sketch on my iPad from what I remember it looked like. I know that it included the words Noodlers Inc. at the top, and it probably said 1 fluid ounce or whatever the liquid size was. And I think it also said made in USA, as Nathan would insist upon that. Made in his bathtub in the USA. I don't know where he made his, I think he originally made his inks in his house, which is probably a hazmat toxic zone by now. Nathan Tardif creates Noodlers Ink and Noodlers pens. I'm sure now the inks are manufactured somewhere other than his house. The pens I know are made in India. He's a nut. Nathan Tardif is a nut, but a good kind of nut. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll do a little drawing on my iPad when I'm done with this of what I remember the label to have looked like. Because I thought it was a nice label. I thought it hit all of the elements needed. I printed them myself and sent them to Nathan to put on the bottle. And I used Avery labels, mailing envelope labels. So they were this big, about 3 inches long by an inch tall, whatever they are. And I told Nathan how cheaply they are to print. He said, they came up to be, maybe a penny a piece or 2 cents each to print the label. You buy a pack for $15 and that has 1,000 labels in them, and then you put them in your printer and you print them, and that was too much money for Nathan to spend on a label. A penny was too much money. So he would use crappy paper and glue them. My brother talks about people like that. He'd walk over a dime to pick up a penny. He's he's very frugal, is our Nathan. Masturbator. Showing a man putting a worm on a hook. Yeah, he is a character. Okay, cancel. There you are. Great. Thank you. The email has come through. Do a search though, Tara. Bay State Blue original label. Maybe that'll pop up somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I have to get breakfast in me, so Troy, my little brother, and I are going to be putting in a new water heater, which involves moving all sorts of stuff, and I need to get some food in me for physical labor. Nice meeting you, Tara. Nice seeing you again, Teresa. We'll catch you later. Bye. End stream. End.